A seasonably cold 20 degrees outside in downtown Minneapolis. But one of the hot teams in the NFL inside, the Minnesota Vikings, going for 5 in a row with division rival Chicago in town. The Giants and Vikings control their own playoff destiny. The 5-8 Bears must win tonight to avoid elimination. Good evening, everyone. Mike Tirico, welcome to Monday Night Football. 34-0 was the score in Green Bay. The Minnesota Vikings left Wisconsin at 3-6, and without their running back, Adrian Peterson, who had injured his knee. Didn't think they'd be looking at the playoffs right now, but here they are. They've won 4 in a row. Their second-year quarterback, Tavares Jackson, playing solid football, and the best rush defense in the league has the Vikings in position to get back to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Joined by Tony Kornheiser and Ron Jaworski. Tony's going to talk about the Bears and their issues here in a second, but I want to get to the guy at the top of the marquee tonight. Jaws' 7th overall pick in the draft out of Oklahoma, Adrian Peterson. He has wowed the NFL in his first dozen games.
He certainly has, Mike. He is the most explosive running back in the National Football League, averaging 6.1 yards every time he touches the ball in the rushing game. He is also a powerful runner. About half his 1,200 yards has come after first contact. And you talk about durability. In the fourth quarter, Adrian Peterson rushes for 6.5 yards every time he touches the football. And I want to digress to the conversation I had with Bill Polian, the president of the Colts, about 5 years ago. He just came back from scouting Adrian Peterson in Oklahoma, and he said he was absolutely amazing. He was incredible. He said if Adrian Peterson stays healthy, he could be the greatest running back in the history of the National Football League. This is when he was a freshman. I got to tell you this, Mike. I am lathered up, pumped up, watching the running game tonight.
Is he okay?
I think he'll be okay as time goes on.
The Bears haven't been okay. They stopped Kyle Orton at quarterback for the first time in about 2 years. Not the way they scripted this season.
Absolutely not. Let us consider the rise and fall of the Chicago Bears. From 13-3 in the Super Bowl last year to 5-8 and the Toilet Bowl this year. The Bears came into this season fully expecting to go back to the Super Bowl and win it, like the Super Bowl Shuffle Bears did. They fully expected their opponents to gaze upon those mighty Bears uniforms and cower and fearfully make way. They acted like all they had to do to win games was show up. And why wouldn't they? They had everybody back, a year older and a year better, right? Well, the ancient Greeks had a word for this overweening pride, and that word was hubris. If you paid attention to your Greek tragedies, you know it undid many kings. Now, the ancient Greeks weren't familiar with crashing their Lamborghinis or trading the wrong running back or continuing to pathetically fumble the snap from center, but you know what I mean. Everything collapsed at once. The running game that was so good last year with 2 backs disappeared with 1 back. The vaunted defense continually got shredded. Monsters of the midway, you mean mice of the midway. And the beleaguered quarterback made the same frustrating mistakes he made last year, and the defense could no longer cover for him. Grossman was replaced by Greasy, then Greasy by Grossman. Now say hello to Orton. The only part that works is the miraculous Devin Hester. But can he play 22 positions at once? Super Bowl. The Bears probably won't even make the playoffs. 1 more loss, they won't even make 500. Hubris, you might want to remember it.
I'll tell you, don't forget, this is a division game. And no matter how bad the Bears have been at times this year, it's still the last best shot for them this year as they take on Minnesota tonight. Off hard. Bears have won the toss. They will receive. That means Devin Hester awaits his 30th game in his first 29, 11 kick returns. They'll squib it. Off we go from Minneapolis. The big bounce to Hester on the run from the 23. Through the first tackle and down at the 42-yard line. Eric Frampton, the safety, makes the tackle, but you start with very good field position for the return of Kyle Orton as the Bears quarterback. 3rd year out of Purdue, 4th-round draft pick in 2005. We are 2 weeks shy of the 2-year anniversary of his last start. Final game of the 05 season. As a rookie, came in when Rex Grossman was hurt in the preseason and led the Bears to a 10-5 record. Officially marked at the 41, Orton to the air. Adrian Peterson out of the backfield. Gain of 5, shown the sideline by Chad Greenway. Past the 45, and Ron, what do you expect from Orton here tonight?
Well, he will manage the game. It's a term we always use, but the Bears do not want to turn the football over. You will see high percentage passing just like we saw. That was an either-or read for Kyle Orton. Either throw the button hook at about 10 yards down the field or dump it off to the back. The hook wasn't open. He dumped it off. 5-yard gain.
Vikings defense best in the league against the run. Bears will throw a lot tonight. Back to Peterson. Great open field tackle by Dwight Smith, who is starting tonight despite his misdemeanor citation for marijuana possession and obstructing traffic on Thursday night in downtown Minneapolis. Brad Childress, the coach, waiting for the full facts. He plays, not suspended or benched here tonight.
You asked what do we expect from Kyle Orton? I mean, let's be fair. He's third string behind Brian Greasy and Rex Grossman. This is not exactly quarterback huge.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot of third stringers come in and play well, Tony.
Devin Hester in the game, 3rd and 5, his 7th run of the year. Hester tries to get to the edge. Open field tackle. Antoine Winfield, 3 and out for the Bears.
What an outstanding play by Antoine Winfield. In that 3rd and 5 situation, it's a predominant man-to-man coverage. Hester lined up as a wide receiver. Antoine Winfield has him man-to-man. As soon as Hester starts running around, Antoine Winfield follows and makes a terrific tackle in the open field.
Former Ohio State Buckeye, whose defensive back coach in Columbus was Lovie Smith, the Bears coach. Makes the play, and now the Bears, Brad Maynard, will kick it away. Usually exceptional at pinning the opponents inside the 20. Bobby Wade makes a fair catch at the 5. And at the 6, so it'll be 94 yards for the Vikings. Adrian Peterson's the star. He's the man who's attracted all the attention with 1,200 rushing yards. 2nd in the NFL. Remember, he missed 2.5 games, really, after injuring that knee 5 weeks ago in Green Bay. 2nd in the league, as you see, through last week's action, and he needs 118 yards tonight to become the #1 running back in yards in the NFL this year.
Mike, we may hear a couple wows tonight. Adrian Peterson is something special.
We're getting the ball from Tavares Jackson, the 2nd-year quarterback out of Alabama State. From the 7, Peterson runs right for about 5.5 yards. Israel Idonije gets the start at nose tackle, made the tackle.
We asked Adrian Peterson the other day, I asked him, you're killing people, you really are, you've been great. Did you expect this? And he said, and I quote, I did. I watched NFL players. I watched LaDainian Tomlinson. I watched Brian Westbrook. I watched them cut. I saw their explosiveness, and I said, I've got that too. I can do the same thing. I asked him, when did you know you could do that? He said, against the Jets. That was an exhibition game. So he came into the league knowing he could be great.
And he said it humbly, by the way.
If one can do that, yes, he did.
Tommy Harris across the line. We'll have our first flag of the night. Tony Correnti is our referee.
Offside, defense, number 91, unabated to the quarterback. His 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
I have to admit, I'm surprised at the moment. Hester touched the ball twice, Peterson once, and there's no score, Jaws. I certainly thought by now it'd be 7-7, didn't you?
I talked about the most explosive running back in the NFL. Would you expect a touchdown the first carry?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So many people a part of this. The left side of the offensive line, very good. The fullback, Tony Richardson. Jackson's throw is caught and then didn't hit the ground into the waiting arms of Urlacher. And Brian Urlacher will give the Bears a possession in the red zone. It is the 21st turnover of the season for the Vikings. Robert Ferguson could not hang on.
Do you remember last year how the Bears won games? That was the way they won games. They made defensive turnovers very often, resulting in touchdowns on the spot, but certainly within the next series or so. That's what was missing this year. They had 44 takeaways last year, only 24 this year.
And that was actually a running play as a huddle call. What Tavares Jackson did, he saw the corner off. They run a quick slant inside, and it was ineffective, obviously intercepted, but it was a slight adjustment at the line of scrimmage.
And a huge play by Nathan Vasher, inactive the last 10 games because of a partially torn groin. It is credited as an interception, and we have movement by the Bears up front.
False start, offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
it has been part of the Bears' issue on the back end defensively. Vasher, 4th-round pick in 2004, 16 career picks, been out of the lineup. Lovie Smith kept saying every week, he's getting close, he's getting close. Well, this week, after seeing limited action in practice, able to get on the field and makes an impact right away. And Orton with a deep drop. Throwing for the end zone. Incomplete for Greg Olsen, the tight end, who was looking for the flag on Winfield. Flag picked up after it was thrown. And the explanation, let's see if they rule uncatchable or why it was picked up.
There is no foul on the play. The penalty flag was inadvertently thrown.
Okay.
Therefore, incomplete pass, second down.
As you can hear, there are the requisite number of Bears fans at a Chicago road game following their team.
See the end of the play, Antoine Winfield in perfect position on Greg Olsen.
If anything, Olsen did the most pushing there.
Yes.
Bernard Berry and Rasheed Davis to the left, and another pre-snap foul.
False start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, second down.
That is John St. Clair, who got the start at left guard over Terrence Metcalf tonight. And as always, when the Vikings are rolling, this is one of the loud houses in the league.
Mike had a chance to go back into the vault at NFL Films this week to pull out some Kyle Orton tape. There was no regular season tape on him, so he had to watch the preseason. He is a tight end-oriented quarterback. He likes to work inside the number area, and he will go down the field to the tight end.
3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Orton's throw is complete. Just to the 15-yard line. Like you said, Jaws, spot those tight ends. It was Desmond Clark. Here's Muhsin Muhammad, the wide receiver, with the Bears offensive starter.
Starting for the Chicago Bears on Monday night, on the ends we have John Tate and Fred Miller. Down the middle is the Hawaiian heartthrob, Olin Cruz. At quarterback, we have Kyle Orton. On one side, Bernard Berry playing wide receiver. We call him B twice. And in the backfield, the other AP, Adrian Peterson, all purpose. At tight end, we have Desmond, the real deal, Clark.
It's 3rd and 11. Hester plays offense for the second snap tonight. Similar formation to the run play he had before. Orton steps up to the tight end. Clark going to be stopped. Arch Peterson, I beg your pardon, stopped by Cedric Griffin. And in field goal range, Chicago will try to get on the board.
Jaws, you said before that you went into the vaults to get Kyle Orton tape. Did that have an expiration date?
No, it didn't.
Because that shelf life, that had to be a long time for that.
I said preseason. Been a couple years for regular season tape.
If there's one stat that can describe the Bears' inabilities on offense, it's this. Robbie Gould, their very good kicker, has more field goals than extra points this year. Here he is from 29 yards. And the Bears take advantage of the turnover to get on the board. Robert Ferguson of the Vikings caught the pass. Nathan Vasher made the hit to knock it free. Urlacher comes up with the pick, and the Bears score first. Was here in winter. Andre Allison had a 104-yard kickoff return for touchdown against Detroit. He is smothered by Tremaine McBride and the Bears special teams for a very short kick return. It's a long field again for the Vikings, and Adrian Peterson trailing 3-0. It's the Metrodome at the back end kickoff. Brendan Iambadejo, the top special teams tackler and the captain of that unit for the Bears, injured his knee, and he comes off after being looked at. He's one of the well-liked players on this team and went to the Pro Bowl as the special teams man in the NFC for coverage last year. So they look at Iambadejo as the Vikings take over deep in their own territory. Bobby Wade in motion, the former Bear, and from the 12 it's Jackson, hit as he throws, and it's caught by Wade, who's touched down at the 17-yard line. Brian Urlacher, who had the pick, comes right at Jackson, who, with 3 injuries, missed 4 starts this year, but has come back in his last 4 wins, has improved the completion percentage significantly, cut down the turnovers, and Ron looks like a much more poised quarterback.
No question about it. Brad Childress doing a terrific job of bringing the young quarterback along. Last 4 games, all wins by the Vikings, averaging only about 21 throws per game.
Off the gain of 5, here goes Peterson. Put his shoulder down into Daniel Manning, has the first down. Bryant McKinney, offensive lineman, with the intros on the Vikings offense.
Thanks, Mike. And we'll start off with the offensive line. I'm sure you're familiar with the left side already. So I'm going to introduce Anthony Rick Ross Herrera. And on to the specialists. We have Bobby Dora the Explorer Wade. And at running back, we have Adrian All Day Peterson. And at quarterback, we got Tavares, we can't understand nothing he's saying in the huddle, Jackson.
That's not good for the quarterback.
I guess when in doubt, give it to 29, right? Or 28, Taylor or Peterson. Throw to Bobby Wade, complete. First down as he is tackled in the secondary by Daniel Manning. A good throw. Let's see the defense he's going up against tonight. Adewale Ogunleye, defensive end, Bears, takes care of the intros.
On the defensive line, we have Tommy Harris, defensive tackle, the real deal. At right end, there's Mark Anderson. In the linebacker crew, one of the best in the league, we have Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs. In the secondary, we'll be led by Peanut Tillman and hardened safeties Daniel Manning and Brandon McGowan.
Couple of good back-to-back gains for the Vikings. Peterson runs toward the left, and the Bears going to attack him. The initial surge by Tommy Harris, the tackle credited to Hunter Hillemeyer, and just a gain of a couple for Peterson.
Mike, it's early in this game, but it's clear the Bears have committed to 8 defenders in the box. You'll see Brandon McGowan, number 36, lining up almost as a linebacker with Daniel Manning deep as a single safety. When you get those isolation routes on the outside, you throw the play-action pass, as we saw 2 plays ago, they will be available all evening.
Peterson comes out. Chester Taylor, averaging 5 yards per carry, checks in. Man who had 1,200 yards last year for Minnesota. And behind Tony Richardson, Taylor tries to go to the right. And he squirms forward to just the 44-yard line. We'll have a third and about 3 coming up. And we just saw the lineups of the Bears. We should point out they have been ravaged at the defensive tackle spot. So much so that Jimmy Kennedy, who was signed by the team this week, the guy who played for Lovie Smith in St. Louis, has been in the lineup the last couple of plays and just came out.
They're signing guys off the street. Jaws is so big, I thought he might be signed on his way into the Metrodome.
Oh, that one hurt.
I thought,
man, I'm on a weight loss program.
I meant big in the good sense, Jaws. In the good sense.
Oh, okay.
Big and strong.
Third and 4, Jackson swinging it out. First down to the 40-yard line for Peterson. Gain of 16.
Excellent play design by Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator. This is a screen all the way. As you'll see right here, Adrian Peterson explodes, but you'll see linemen out in front of him. They know it's going to be that ball quickly out to Adrian Peterson. And when he gets on the edge, look out, because he's got some jets.
Ran out of his shoe there. You saw him hold the ball and look really small. He's got a handshake.
Oh, wow. Yes, he does.
It just kills you. I mean, he is strong of hand and of body.
Goodbye, metacarpals.
He's out. Taylor's in. Play action. Jackson throws to Wade. Sliding down at the 21. Beautiful drive working here for Minnesota. A gain of 18, and Urlacher the tackle.
A quarterback's best friend is the running game. The Vikings have been running the football. That sets up the play action. You'll see once a quarterback can extend that ball and freeze the linebackers, big voids in the secondary. Nice throw from Tavares Jackson. Big gain for the Minnesota Vikings. Boy, that play action game is so good when it works like that. A quarterback just looks downfield and sees big holes in the defense.
Jackson's hit all 4 on this drive. Adrian Peterson, shoe back on, back in the lineup. Fumble. And Urlacher comes up with his second turnover of the game.
It's what they didn't have it all last year. Now in the first quarter, they've got it twice.
And
those were the Bears last year.
Twice it's been Urlacher coming up with it as the young guys mess up in the backfield.
Where my ladies at?
Coach Brad Childress, who is the along with Andy Reid in Philadelphia the last few years, discussing with Tavares Jackson and Adrian Peterson what happened here.
Yeah, there's no question Adrian Peterson is reaching for the ball. You got to keep the elbow up on the side of the quarterback so he can insert that. You see Brad telling it, keep that elbow up, allow the quarterback to seat the ball, then clamp down. Adrian Peterson is clamping down a tad early.
Nonetheless, the fumble is credited to Jackson, last man who possessed the ball. His third on the year. Kyle Orton, the Bears' starting quarterback, to Adrian Peterson, the other one, a gain of about 5 yards. So in this season of struggle for the Chicago Bears, Brian Urlacher, who was very honest about the failures of this team this season and pinning it right on the players who represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. He got the deflection for the interception, the pressure on Jackson at the start of the second drive, and when Adrian Peterson does a bad job of opening up the gate to let the ball in, Urlacher falls on it. First time he's had a pick and a fumble recovery in 6 years. Second down run for Peterson, who's the starter because of the injury to Cedric Benson. About 1.5 yards shy of the first down. We'll have third down coming up.
Let's go back to Urlacher for a second with a direct quote. You give Urlacher a chance. You say, people say you have a bad back. Is that the reason the year hasn't been so good? He says, it's not my back. I haven't played as well this year. I haven't made plays. We haven't made plays. It's the players. We take responsibility. And you don't hear that often. You hear injuries. You hear coaching changes. You hear any number of things. Brian Urlacher said, it's us.
He's a man.
Third and 1. Play action with Orton. His tight end couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. He had to throw it away. Desmond Clark, the tight end, could not get off the block. He's begging for a holding call. That's why it looks so easy. Now there's a conversation with the officials if a flag should have been thrown.
He's telling the back judge, you think I wear my uniform like this?
The pocket and had thrown the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. Fourth down.
That was just cleaning up no intentional grounding, but the bigger issue for the Bears was Clark coming off the line. Oh.
It was pretty obvious Udeze was holding the jersey, had pulled it down over his shoulder pad. No call as Clark was going to the back judge saying, I don't wear my uniform like this.
For the second time, the Bears fail on 3rd and 1 all year. A knuckle of a punt provides Bobby Wade a return opportunity, but a very good open field tackle by Rasheed Davis means the Vikings will take over at their own 35.
The weekday fix.
Most popular, certainly since this Metrodome opened. We know we've had the runs from the Twins in their World Series years. This is such a football town, such a Viking town. Back to the Bud Grant days, outdoors in Bloomington Stadium, and a new star on the horizon here with Adrian Peterson. He's on the sidelines as Chester Taylor leads the Vikings out for their third drive. They've turned it over the first 2 times. Number 36, Peterson cuts it back. Gain of about 5.5. Brandon McGowan the tackle. As the pushing and shoving continues behind the play. No flags thrown, and we'll go down to Michelle.
Mike, you could see that Adrian Peterson was really disappointed in himself after that fumble on the last drive. Out of breath, he sat on the bench. You could see him shaking his head a couple of times, but everyone who passed him gave him a pat on the shoulder, and right guard Anthony Herrera put his arm around him, gave him some words of encouragement as they got ready to take the field again. They really don't want to put too much pressure on this young kid. Mike?
He's carried it 200 times this year. Number 201 was that turnover, or really 201 was the gain before the turnover. That was Jackson's credited turnover. A run of about 3 or so for Taylor. Urlacher in there once again. A penalty marker is down.
Holding, offense number 19. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's on Bobby Wade, the wide receiver. Receivers have been such good blockers this year. Well, Peterson is now over 200 carries for the year. He has 6 or more yards per rush on average. How good is that? In a single season, it's only happened 3 times before in NFL history. Jim Brown, O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders. And here is Peterson, exactly 6 yards per carry, as he has arrived at 201 carries on the year. Hall of Fame type
That's pretty rare here.
Out of the gate, yeah.
It's pretty rare here.
Asante Shanko, the tight end, splits himself wide to the right. And Jackson gets it out to Tony Richardson, the fullback, who spent many years blocking for good running backs in Kansas City. Think of Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes. He cleared the way for Chester Taylor's big season last year, his 9th reception of the year. We'll bring up 3rd down in about 6.
Yeah, and Tony Richardson, one of those underappreciated guys, a fullback that is clearing the way for this outstanding running game of the Minnesota Vikings. You know, does all the dirty work, gets very little credit, but he is an outstanding football player.
It's been all Chester Taylor on this drive in the shotgun next to Jackson. The Bears rush 4, and Jackson throws incomplete. They wanted the flag on Nathan Vasher, feeling like he had a hand on Jeff Dugan, the fullback / tight end. It's ruled incomplete, and the Vikings punted away, and that means Devin Hester goes back for a punt return.
And of course, they'd have to be crazy to punt it to him, right, Jaws?
Absolutely.
Well, there you see this year, punts and kickoffs combined, 28 combined kickoffs out of bounds, most in the Super Bowl era in the NFL. What does that tell you? Everybody's been kicking away from Devin Hester. The assignment to Chris Kluwe, who likes to directionally kick to the right. Hester is going to get back on the goal line and fake the reverse. There are bodies spread wide out, but Hester fumbles the football, and it goes out of bounds at the 3. So they almost come up with the big play the other way as Ben Lieber, the linebacker, the former Charger, nearly made a play happen.
Pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. Come on now.
He returns a lot. He also fumbles a lot.
Yeah.
60 yards on the kick, 3 on the return. A near disaster for the Bears as Lieber stripped it away, but it's Chicago ball. With 64,000 in. It's a clear and seasonably cold night. Bears taking over at their own 3, and Garrett Wolf is in the game, the rookie running back out of Northern Illinois. 5'7", speedster. Loss of 2 into the massive arms of Kevin Williams, along with Pat Williams on that defensive front. Maybe the best tackle combo in the NFL.
Garrett Wolf disappeared. You said 5'7". He was 2'7" at that point as he gets wrapped up.
Forget it, guys.
Goodbye.
You are not running inside.
Bye.
Pat Williams and Kevin Williams combined for 108 tackles this year. That's a huge amount for defensive tackles. You will not move those big loads inside.
Curious here that you go away from Adrian Peterson, a larger back for the Bears, and go to the small back, Wolf, inside your own 3. Officially marked at the 2, Orton from his own end zone. 3rd down.
Maybe they thought by going to a really small running back, that would surprise the Vikings. They wouldn't see him. Maybe they felt it was deceptive in that regard. They'd say to themselves, why would you go to a small running back? Let's forget he's out there.
You know, the Minnesota Vikings are a very good blitzing team. On that 2nd down, they came with the blitz. They're using Ben Lieber as kind of their pass rusher. But when they blitz, the quarterback rating against them is only 66. That is a good blitzing defense.
Run, Peterson. 1 yard, E.J. Henderson tackled. 4th down. They say uncle.
It's the best run defense in the league, isn't it?
Yes, 70 yards a game.
League, so what do you think?
And I can't imagine why they're trying to run inside. I mean, Kevin Williams, Pat Williams, and E.J. Henderson is having an incredible year.
Brad Maynard's last punt was not very good. Bobby Wade got a running start. Wolf is the personal protector for Maynard. Good hang time. Turn this baby over to the sideline. Wade from his own 42. A flag is down as Wade's return is 9. It's a 2nd special teams tackle for Rashid Davis. The punt was 55 yards after a bad one. Maynard bails out a Bears offense that has no first downs, 12 plays, and 26 yards so far.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 37. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's Eric Frampton.
There's Rex Grossman. Now, nobody's going to blame Kyle Orton for being ineffective. He's the third-string quarterback here, and he's playing because there's just nobody left because Rex got hurt recently. A lot of the blame goes on Rex for the year because Rex took them to the Super Bowl last year. With all the troubles and some of the terrible games he had great games as well. He had 23 touchdown passes last year. He's got 4 this year. As you line up the people who are accountable for the rise and fall of the Bears, Rex Grossman gets a lot of it, and the question is, will he be back next year? He's a free agent. Do they want him back? Would he want to come back?
Adrian Peterson back in the game. Vikings from the 38 get it back to Peterson. And a good rush off the edge by Alex Brown, the defensive end out of Florida, much like Grossman. No gain, and that'll bring the first quarter to an end.
You know, with the fast flow of the Chicago Bears defense, the Vikings are going to have to go to some misdirection offensively. They run that reverse around with the wide receiver coming around. Well, they're going to have to give him the ball because, as you saw right there, it was Brown coming down hard and making the play.
The Vikings turn it over a couple of times. The Bears only capitalized with a field goal, but through one. Chicago at 5-8, leads 7-6. Ball's been on the ground 3 times in the opening quarter as the Vikings turned it over a couple of times. Devin Hester nearly turning it over inside the 5. It is Bears 3, Vikings nothing. Second quarter begins here in Minneapolis with a 2nd and 9 for the Vikings. And Adrian Peterson, who is a marked man again here tonight. Brandon McGowan with the tackle. Ron, what are they doing to Peterson?
Well, Mike, you said Peterson and Chester Taylor are marked men. You'll see right here, 8 defenders in the box. They are loading up the box against this outstanding Minnesota Viking running game. They're trying to force it with little success thus far.
Go back to last week. It was a little bit different type of scheme and design from the 49ers. They kept Peterson in check. He had 14 carries for 3 yards. As he said, the worst game I've ever had. 3rd and 8. And Tavares Jackson, 4-man rush. Felt it, got it out to Taylor, spin in the open field. Can't fool Charles Tillman. Peanut, as he's known by his teammates. Keeps Taylor a yard shy of the first down, and the Vikings will kick it away to Hester again.
And an excellent job by the Bears defense. You know, they really collapsed the pocket on Tavares Jackson, forced him to go to a check down, and then their defense swarmed to Chester Taylor and held him a yard short of the first down.
Chris Kluwe, the punter, is very good at pinning the opponents inside their 20. As a matter of fact, he has set a Vikings record for the last 2 years doing that. And we'll try to do it again with Hester, who went razzle-dazzle and almost turned it over last time. Toward that right sideline again. Another kick out of bounds and out of the hands of Hester. Going to be marked at, oh yeah, they got to mark. It's not at the 4-yard line. It's well up, probably closer to the 14. Or 13 is where it will be marked. So Kluwe does his job. Keeps it inside the 15 and out of the hands of Hester. NFC Central rivals. Bears and Vikings, great game. October 14th in Chicago. Minnesota won that one by 3 on a Ryan Longwell 55-yard field goal on the final snap of the game. Kyle Orton takes over from the 13. And Orton's throw is almost intercepted. Antoine Winfield covering Bernard Berrien. We talked about Orton getting the start for the first time in almost 2 years, after Rex Grossman was injured against the Redskins, partially torn medial collateral ligament in his knee. Brian Griese, who has started 7 times this year, came in relief that game. But Grossman, who has been injured a lot, the finger, the ankle, and the knee, has not put up the good numbers. Griese was okay as a starter, 3 and 4 this year, but now it's Orton's turn one more time. Garrett Wolf, speed to the edge. E.J. Henderson grabs him, gain of 3, 3rd and 7 coming up. Tony, you talked about the quarterback position in Chicago and what a historic struggle it's been. Go back to Jim McMahon making a Pro Bowl trip to 85. Since that journey to Honolulu,
who are these guys?
21 different quarterbacks have started for the Bears.
Did I see Will Ferrell's name in there at one point? And then he went on to the movie career?
That was Will Fuhrer, the former Tech quarterback.
This is Chicago's where quarterbacks go to die. It's just terrible to be a quarterback in Chicago. Sid Luckman, the greatest of all time, before they had color photography. When you see his picture.
Throw to Hester. Devin goes up, didn't get the second foot down. Was it a push out? Yes, push out and a catch for Hester. First down at the 30, and the Bears' first down of the night. The question is, did he retain possession of the ball when he went to the ground?
Well, you'll see it right here. Good job by Devin Hester. He's become a very good route runner. I'm not so sure he would have stayed in bounds, but they called a force out. You can't review it.
Force out is unreviewable. This part is, though, as he comes down on the sideline here.
Hitting the ground, therefore, incomplete pass.
Great job by the officials. As everyone, there was a lot to look for there. The catch, feet down. Was it a push out, a force out? All of that was called, but then the one official did see when he came to the ground losing possession, incomplete pass, fourth down.
It was a great job by Mike Tirico, who made that call even before the officials did.
That's
Mike
why
Carrera
we're paying him the big money.
Yeah, he gets the big bucks up here.
It's called being prescient.
Not as big as you two.
What is that word?
Prescient. It means sort of seeing it before it happens.
Man, wow.
Maynard kicks to Wade again. ...51 yards, Bobby Wade, 33-yard line. Another great tackle. Bears special teams doing a job. Nick Roach made the play there. Let's see if the Vikings offense can get on track with Peterson and Jackson. Adrian Peterson, the really... That's nice, but the jaws for president, very questionable. Are you going to Iowa to get yourself in the caucus mix?
Hey, I'm the president of the Maxwell Football Club. Does that count?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm trying.
Iowa, New Hampshire, that's what counts. No.
We can get you on a bus to Iowa. You can take Tony's bus.
Wow.
When the season's over.
I like that. Any golf courses over there?
Not in January. They're there in January, but they're not usable. From the 37, Jackson. Good throw to Schenko. The tight end couldn't hang on. Jackson's being pressured by Hunter Hillemeyer. Here's Michelle.
Well, Mike, before the Vikings drafted Adrian Peterson, they called Chester Taylor to kind of give him a heads up so he could prepare himself. They told him, look, this Peterson kid is special. We cannot pass on him. And so far, the two backs have complemented one another and coexisted well. But when I asked Childress if he anticipated keeping both backs next season, he said, I know I've got both backs this week. That much I know. So, Mike, there's certainly speculation that Taylor could find a home as the sole starter somewhere else.
Remember, he backed up Jamal Lewis in Baltimore, Michelle, 4 years from Brian Billick's offense. Then came in last year, had the big season. He had the 101-yard game last week against the Niners. Jackson hit as he threw, but able to complete it with a marker down at the spot of the quarterback. Let's see if he got roughed by Lance Briggs. Andre Allison the catch.
Roughing the passer, defense number 55, contact to the helmet. This 15-yard penalty will be added to the completed pass, first down.
And the pass was an 18-yard gain to rookie Andre Allison.
You want to evaluate a quarterback, look down the gun barrel and take this kind of hit from Lance Briggs. If you want to be a consistent quarterback in the National Football League, that's the kind of throw you have to make. Hang in there, stare down that gun barrel, and make an accurate throw down the field. Outstanding job by Tavares Jackson.
So the two-time Pro Bowler, much a part of the conversation in the offseason. Briggs, because of his contract demands, signed the one-year, $7 million deal. Can be a free agent after this season. Picks up the penalty. The play and the flag mean 33 yards for the Vikings. And Adrian Peterson left. Cannot climb through the tackle. Gain of a yard. SportsCenter 30-30. John Anderson.
Thank you, Mike. New football coach in Ann Arbor. He's adopted. Rich Rodriguez leaving West Virginia for, quote, a special opportunity in a special place. Rodriguez, good roots, really. Fielding Yost wasn't a Michigan man. He was a West Virginian. And in Dallas, Tony Romo's thumb not broken, but Roy Williams gets benched one game, suspended for his horse collar of Donna McNabb yesterday. Full SportsCenter following the game. Stay current, as always, with ESPN News. Back to Mike.
Thank you, John. Chris Mortensen pointing out that Roy Williams does, if he intends to appeal that suspension, that appeal will be heard on Tuesday. An answer would be given in time for Williams and the Cowboys to know if he can play Saturday against the Panthers. But quick action by the league, and the correct action, too. From the 28, Jackson. Richardson, second catch, the fullback. Big hit there by Peanut Charles Tillman. A gain of 4.
You know, as I've broken down Tavares Jackson, 29% of his throws come out of play action. Why not? When you got Adrian Peterson in the backfield, that will freeze the secondary. I don't like the mechanics right there. I think he's got to stay on balance a little bit better, and he'll throw the ball more accurately, consistently.
Jaws, I know a running game is the friend of a young quarterback, but play action is too, because it makes it for easy reading.
No question. When you come out of your play action fake, remember, for the most part, you're turning your back to the defense. So it's an either or read. Either throw it here or throw it there. Very simple.
Taylor the back, 3rd and 6. Bears bring heat. Jackson just couldn't get it to Sidney Rice, the rookie out of South Carolina. Adewale Ogunleye made him just get uncomfortable in the pocket. And we'll see about a 46-yard field goal attempt for the Vikings.
That's leaving a potential touchdown on the field. As Tavares Jackson moved, he's got to hit that throw. He had Sidney Rice on the shallow cross. He could have ran into the end zone. It looked like as Tavares was coming off the field, he was saying his arm was hit as he was delivering the football.
Ryan Longwell impressive from this distance, between 40 and 49 yards. 8 of 9 this year. From 42, able to knock it through and tie the game at 3. You said Jackson had a big play sitting there. The pressure by Ogunleye may have gotten his way and forced the field goal. 1/3 of the way. A crucial game. Both ways, Vikings in control of their destiny. Bears must win to stay alive. Field position in the National Football League because of Devin Hester. Returns or people kicking out of bounds. Second best in the league at 34. Longwell hits a line drive, and it does not get all the way back to Hester. Rasheed Davis got a hand on it, and Davis down the sideline, past Longwell, and to the 45-yard line.
The split kicking's not working real good.
Well, it's great design by the Bears to have somebody like Davis, a receiver with good speed, to also, with good hands, be on the edge there to try to get some of these squib kicks. And it works out with a nice return and great field position this time.
You'll see the squib right here. And Dave Taub, the special teams coach for the Bears, does a terrific job. As you just said, Mike, you almost have hands people, good hands people up there on the front line.
33-yard return. Bears have it at the 44. With Hester in the slot near you and another pre-snap. Boy, this offense is awful. This is awful.
How do you really feel, Mike?
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's on Roberto Garza. Watching their game last Thursday against Washington in the first half. It was cold out, granted, and a short week, but just exactly what you're seeing again tonight. No first downs. 15 snaps, 30 yards.
Quarterback. What do you? They weren't good with a first or second string.
Yeah, I was going to say that was their first or second last week.
Right.
Into the hands of Hester. One of the few playmakers going to try to run around the world here. Hester picked up a block. Got to the 40. A lot of running for a pickup of 11.
Here's what you need to do. You need to clone him immediately at halftime. And you need to put him out there at every single position, because it's tremendously exciting when he gets his hands on the ball, and it gives them a chance. It's probably the one chance they have to score is Hester.
You're right. That's about the best 11-yard run you're going to see.
From the 38, Orton to Adrian Peterson out of the backfield, a yard shy of the first down. Here's Susie.
You know, guys, on top of Hester wanting to be the greatest return man ever, he really wanted to play cornerback, and at first he was reluctant when coaches asked him about playing wide receiver, but they said, look, you know the impact you have when you touch the ball a few times in a game. Imagine if you can triple that. And coaches have said that he does have the potential to be a Pro Bowl receiver.
Well, Susie, they tried to sneak it on 3rd and a yard there, and it doesn't like Orton made any push toward the yellow line in the first down. Trying to get a little sneak to get a yard is very tough with those guys that Jaws mentioned a moment ago in the middle of the defensive line. And Fred Evans happened to be in that time. And not the Williams combo. And we're going to see what the Bears do if they're short of the first down here. This Minnesota defense, as we talked about, best in the league against the run, last against the pass, in part because of the number of pass attempts against them. Like you've seen with the Bears, you can't run on these guys, so people just throw on them. That's why the number's so high.
But you know what's interesting about that? That it balances out with defense. A scoring defense is they're number 8 in the league. So they don't, even though they give up a lot of yards, they don't give up a lot of points.
And part of the reason pass yards, if you look at yards per pass, take an average of the number of attempts against them, they're in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So it's imbalanced because they're so good against the run. And here the Bears try to go for it on 4th and less than a yard. Jason McKee, the fullback. Orton, quick count, keep. Didn't move the pile very far. It's all going to depend where he ended up. The bottom of the pile, the ball was lying on the other side of the first down marker.
Didn't need much, Mike. Olin Kreutz had a real nice push inside, along with John St. Clair and Roberto Garza.
And a first down for the Bears at the 34.
Nice job with the quick count. Do not let the defensive line get set. Kyle Orton up there, quick counted, got a good surge from his offensive line.
Only took him 22 minutes to get a first down here tonight. It's their first. 6 possessions, 1 first down. And Orton throws the slant to Hester, complete. A half-yard shy of the first down. So what Susie was talking about Hester's ability to become a little bit better receiver, evidence there. He was on the field for 38 plays in the game in Washington 10 nights ago. 2nd and 1, this no-huddle. Peterson. How about unabated to the running back for Antoine Winfield? Nobody touched him off the corner. He dives in to make it 3rd and a yard.
An outstanding play by Antoine Winfield, coming down and just sealing the edge. This is a terrific job right here. Hester trying to block. He whiffs. Look at Winfield come inside and just make a picture-perfect tackle on Adrian Peterson.
Well, there you see some of the small things. You talk about why isn't he on the field more as a receiver? So you have to be complete in the game at that position. Winfield's going to cover Hester this time. Orton goes that way. Devin couldn't hang on. Incomplete. Now let's see. From here, it's a 42 or 3-yard field goal. And it looks like the Bears are going to go for it.
So that's the Bears' complete offensive game plan, George, right? Find Hester, get Hester the ball. If he can't block anybody, don't worry about it. Send him out to receive a pass.
And Tony, Hester was open on the play. It was a poor throw. And they're getting a penalty for too many men in the huddle here on the Bears.
Illegal substitution, 12 players in the offensive huddle. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
But Tony, back when I was talking about, Hester was open, Orton missed him. The most overlooked aspect in the of quarterbacking is accuracy. People want to talk about how big he is, how strong he is, how mobile he is. You've got to be able to throw the football accurately. When you get a guy open, put it on his body.
That is an unspeakable penalty.
You're correct.
4th and a yard. You've been stopped 3 times tonight on 3rd and 1. You were good at 3rd and 1 all year. Unspeakable penalty. From 47, Robbie Gould, Pro Bowl kicker a year ago. Good earlier from 29. Good now from 47.
He is Gold.
Who's your writer? Who said there was a writer's strike? 6-3 Bears. Christmas Eve, we open the presents with us as the San Diego Chargers, champions of the AFC West, trying to hang on to that very important 3 seed in the AFC, taking on Denver. Note our special Christmas Eve start time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, next Monday night from San Diego. Bears on top, 6-3, a couple of turnovers, not much on offense against Brad Childress and the Vikings. The 2nd-year head coach sends Andre Allison back for the kick return. From a couple of yards deep. Pulled down at the 16-yard line.
Okay, sometimes you wonder, there's Brad Childress, you wonder how coaches motivate teams. This is Childress's animal kingdom. He asked his players, would you rather, of course,
it's
that a team together is better than just a few stars, even if they're tough guys.
The 16, Peterson, brought down by Adewale Ogunleye. A loss of 3. It has been a big struggle for Peterson tonight. The Bears defense doing a good job.
So, not yours. Did people, when you were playing, did coaches come around like Childress and show you stuff like that and hand out popcorn and
absolutely
to the movies?
I was very fortunate throughout my career to play for guys like Chuck Knox, Dick Vermeil, Don Shula, Marty Schottenheimer. They not only were football coaches from an X's and O's standpoint, they were motivators.
Were they naturalists, though? Did they bring in wild animals?
Not really. naturalist.
Peterson, 1 yard his last 5 carries. Finally able to get to the edge. They run past that good left side and gains about 7 yards on that one. Now, Brad Childress, this fits his personality. Brad, he really defines the term head coach, psychology major, very into the approach for players, the approach for this organization. And remember, when he came in here last year, he really had to clean the place up. The Vikings were rocked by the sex boat scandal, among other things. And he said year one was establishing law and order in these parts. And now this year, it's building upon that with this team. And part of it is their psychological motivation as a winning team. 4 in a row after starting 3 and 6. Quick drop, quick toss, complete for the first down. Just past the 30-yard line to Robert Ferguson. The gain is 8, and here's Michelle.
Mike, Childress hasn't been real popular here in the Twin Cities, neither with the fans nor with his players. And E.J. Henderson, the middle linebacker, told me he has a different mentality. It's his way. And last year there was a lack of communication, but now he's more friendly. Center Matt Burke said, Coach has made it clear he's not going to be everyone's best friend, but he's been coaching a long time. He gets that there is not going to be harmony all the time. But as you said, after 4 straight wins, cautious optimism in that locker room.
I like what some of the veterans told us, Michelle, that, hey, he's honest. And if you've been around in this league for a while, you like honesty. Klein Saucer, the tight end, gain of 25 and a first down. Danielle Manning makes the tackle. The 3rd reception for Klein Saucer and the longest of the year for him.
With the Chicago Bears loading up the box to stop Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor, you're going to get seams in the defense. Right here, Tavares Jackson does a really good job of leading Klein Saucer up that seam. Perfect throw. This is that firm stick throw. Does a really nice job. This is what I'd like to see from a quarterback that is evolving. Jackson's only started 11 games. This is 12th start. He still is a developing young quarterback.
For Klein Saucer, that's his longest catch in the last 5 years from Jackson, and you see Tavares' number, and they did not get the play in quickly enough. That play was behind from the start, and the timeout is called. So often you've seen that with like 25-yard gains. They're just not ready to get back down the field when the play clock restarts.
Apropos of what Michelle was saying, now it looks very good for him.
That's what they do win. They're on a 4-game winning streak.
So they win Oakland, then they win 3 more. Now he's safe.
And they built this team for the long haul. Everyone wants instantaneous results.
I know
and
I
success.
Do. Here's the reverse Josh. Andre Alston, he's got 1 man over there on the edge. What a great job by Nathan Vasher. Coming up and cutting that play off. No gain. Good job by the corner who's missed the last 10 games for the Bears.
You know, and back to what Tony was talking about, I can't understand why players want coaches to come in. Oh, he's a really nice guy. We really like him. You know, that's what it's about. It's about building a football team for the long haul, bringing the character players in. It's not about, oh, the guy's my friend. Oh, we get along great.
You know what, Jaws? Sometimes you just have to switch. Everybody liked Mike Tice. They had to bring in a tougher guy because there were those scandals. Sometimes when this guy is too tough, then they bring in a nice guy.
What do you mean
to get the most out of people?
This is football. This is the toughest game in the world. It's about discipline.
Underneath, Dugan, the catch. Jeff's gain is only about 3 yards. Nathan Vasher and Lance Briggs making the tackle. A 3rd down coming up. The Vikings control their own destiny with these 4 wins in a row. Giants and Vikings still do that in the NFC. New Orleans and Washington sitting at 7-7, pulling hard for the Bears to win. Chicago, if they win, they stay alive. As a matter of fact, fans in Chicago, Philly, Detroit, and Arizona benefit if the Bears win tonight. If not, the Bears, Eagles, Lions, and Cardinals would be eliminated. Wow. With a Viking win tonight. 3rd and 7, Chester Taylor's the back. 7 in coverage. Swing out of the backfield. Taylor couldn't hang on. And this Bears defense continues to do a good job as Minnesota will kick it away one more time.
You know, once again, I'll go back to the accuracy aspect of quarterbacking right there. Chester Taylor was available to Jackson. He throws the ball slightly behind him. You've got to get the ball out in front of the back out of the backfield so he can turn it up the field and gain the 4 yards. That's what accuracy is all about. That was an inaccurate throw. People are going to say the ball was dropped by Taylor, but the ball wasn't positioned where it should be.
You saw that number for Hester, the NFL record holder, average return, likely not to get a chance here as Kluwe kicks it out of bounds again inside the 15. And this Bears drive is going to start at the 9. So a fabulous job done.
Nice tonight. They're 2-5 in the NFC, and that's why they're not going back.
Mark Bradley, one of the three receivers. Orton out of the gun. Kyle's throw is caught by Bernard Berrien. Made a nice move on the sideline. Winfield the tackle. To the 16, a pickup of 7 yards. Berrien the top pass catcher on this team this year. Well, the Bears last year to this year, their offense, largest scoring decline in the league. Points allowed per game, their defense, 4th largest increase in the league. So things have flipped on both sides of the ball. And the ball's on the ground on that snap. But I believe Orton gets back on it before Spencer Johnson could get there.
That looked like last year, didn't it?
Where they had many problems with Rex.
All the time, yeah.
3rd down coming up. Bears have been going no huddle. They'd be well advised to wait and get to the 2-minute warning. And they will. Tony's going to step out to get ready for PTI with Mike Wilbon.
Well, Jaws, I have to get tough. Jaws said it.
Romo's bad game yesterday.
Stop. Stop.
3rd and 5 for Orton. Peterson out of the backfield. Going to get away from E.J. Henderson. First down at the 25-yard line. Dwight Smith was there for the push-out. You know, we talked about the injuries to the quarterbacks. Cedric Benson had the season-ending ankle injury against Denver 3 weeks ago, forcing Peterson, really the 3rd down back for most of this season, and the 3rd running back last year when Thomas Jones was still here, into a starting role. Mark Bradley, 5th catch of the year. And the 2nd-round pick out of Oklahoma takes it near the 40-yard line and a first down. Pickup of 14. That's 2 first downs in 2 snaps for the Bears. Double their output of the first 28 minutes of this half. Screen, Peterson. Good job to get away from the first hit, but then cleaned up by Cedric Griffin off his right corner spot. Chicago will take a timeout with the ball at the 44. 7th reception for the Bears, Adrian Peterson. Quick break, right back. At Green Bay, at Philly, at Oakland, and Denver in overtime this year. Chicago is 5-8, trying to stave off elimination here tonight. Best looking drive of the night. After the Chicago called timeout, Orton almost his, he throws, sending it deep for Berrien. It was like a punt, incomplete. Winfield back there in coverage. Jamie Mitchell pressuring the quarterback.
But in this drive, Mike, at least the Bears have flipped the field. They've started this drive at the 9-yard line. If it would have been a 3 and out, the Vikings would have had great field position. But they've moved the ball up here to the 44-yard line. Good job of keeping the ball away from the Vikings. If they do have to punt, the Vikings will have a long field.
Muhsin Muhammad Rashid Davis at the top of the screen. Orton throws high and incomplete. Intended for Muhammad. Antoine Winfield is really having a very big impact on the game tonight. 4th down, punt.
Antoine Winfield, Cedric Griffin, Mike, we were talking during that break a moment ago. They are outstanding corners, not only as cover corners, but they will come up and make plays in the running game.
Brad Maynard kicking to Bobby Wade again. And a good directional kick. 57 yards, the net is 37. Vikes take over at the 20 with 58 seconds. Susie, they've done a good job on Adrian Peterson tonight.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to make sure that his national television debut wasn't going to be a good one, so they've stuffed him. 8 rushes, 22 yards. And talking to Adewale Agunle about this, he said they all went to Tommy Harris because Tommy was Adrian Peterson's teammate at Oklahoma, so they wanted to see the game through his eyes. They knew what to expect. They know his nickname is All Day. They were going to make sure it wasn't going to be all night. They've done a great job of shutting him down.
Well, in that first meeting, Susie, where Peterson had 224 rushing yards, he lived up to that nickname all day. He only had 43 in the first half and then had the big long touchdown runs in the second half. But it has been a much better job by the Bears tonight and the 49ers last week, as you saw the numbers against Peterson.
In other words, stay tuned, right, Mike?
Yes. Chester Taylor's the back for this 1-minute drive that is a knockdown pass by Israel Idonije. defensive tackle is it's like the guard. It's the unsexy position in the NFL. Usually you don't see what happens there. But what the Bears have gone through on that inside this year, Darwin Walker's out again tonight. Remember, of course, they had Tank Johnson, who they released in the offseason because of his legal problems. Ian Scott and Alfonso Boone they let go. Dusty Dvorak, they lost game 1. Put Anthony Adams and Antonio Garay on IR this week. And Adonijah is a defensive end by trade, sliding in to help here tonight. 2nd and 10. Jackson, a jump ball, awful throw. Nathan Vasher's first pick of the year. Vasher got a block. Vasher, Prancer, inside the 15. The Bears have it at the 13.
Mike, you are absolutely correct. It was a horrible throw and decision by Tavares Jackson. You can't make that throw in this situation. You can't make it at any time, but particularly with less than a minute to go in the first half. This is really a ball thrown up for grabs. The pocket collapses. He tries to throw it over Brian Urlacher. It was just a lollipop that was picked off by Vasher. Bad decision, bad throw.
Jackson, who had 2 interceptions his last 7 starts, has 2 in this half. And that one may have been just learn, take a sack. Sometimes it's a better play.
Or throw it in the stands. Sometimes your best throws are incompletions.
The Bears have 2 timeouts and 43 seconds left from the 12. Handed the ball in the red zone for the 2nd time tonight. Orton gets pressured and throws complete to Muhammad to the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago Bears. The Jackson pick turns into 6 with a Muhammad score, his 4th of the year. Vasher's the one who came up with the interception.
Muhsin Muhammad at 6'2", 215, gets inside, used the big body, and look at the location of the throw by Kyle Orton. Staring down the gun barrel. Good anticipation, puts the ball right on the belt buckle of Muhsin Muhammad. Excellent execution by the Chicago Bears.
That play is going to be reviewed upstairs. Inside the last 2 minutes, the replay booth buzzes down to the referee to see if a play requires a second look, and they'll see if the ball broke the plane before Muhammad's knee came down to see if we're sitting on his 73rd career touchdown or not. Vasher had the pick. Is Muhammad's knee down? Oh, it's going to be very close. Might be just shy. Go look at it. Or not.
After review, the Chicago receiver's knee hit short of the goal line. The ball be placed at the 1/4 yard line. First down.
There's a good call, and we saw it go in a break here. It is by a hair. Right there. And the knee comes down. He has not broken the plane yet. It's at the 1/4 yard line.
That was really, really good. 1/4.
That would be the 9-inch line.
It's that Syracuse education at work.
So the Bears have 38 seconds and 2 timeouts to try to punch it in, essentially from 9 inches. Remember, they've been stopped multiple times in close. Jason McKee, the fullback, takes care of business for a Bears touchdown. His first of the year, his first career rushing touchdown for the 6th-year man out of Temple. And he gets the ball to a teammate who can save it forever.
And once again, wise use of the snap count by Kyle Orton. Gets up there, snaps the ball quickly, does not allow the defense to get set.
So not the Muhammad touchdown, but the Jason McKee score puts the Bears up 12-3, and Robbie Gould on for the extra point. So the Tavares Jackson interception by Nathan Vasher, who has been one of the guys, along with Brian Urlacher, who has led the charge of a proud Bears defense, embarrassed for 361 combined yards by Peterson. And that Smith told us this week, hey, we're playing to win until they tell us we're done. Then we'll worry about looking at things going forward. And they've come out in a division game and lead by 10. Andre Allison looking for a crease. Brought down at the 27-yard line by Nick Roach again.
And remember, Tavares Jackson, this is only his 12th start. And he's going to make some mistakes. But you can't make a mistake like this. You got defenders draped over your body, trying to force the throw in there. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with taking an incompletion. This is just an inexperienced quarterback making a bad decision.
You even pointed it out, Ron, the second-year player from Alabama State who started his career at Arkansas, Matt Jones, now the Jaguars receiver, became their top quarterback, so Jackson transferred. He had a couple of bad fundamental passes earlier, just on screens. Hanging in the pocket here, downfield for Robert Ferguson, but too high. Jackson couldn't get in that slot in the zone because Adewale Ogunleye was sending Jackson to the turf at the Dome.
You'll see Jackson here. He's got Ferguson up the sideline. The ball gets a little bit out of his hand, a little bit high, but once again, pressure in the pocket. The anticipation just wasn't there to get the ball to Ferguson. But again, this is Jackson's 12th start. For the most part, Brad Childress has done a great job of managing his game. So far tonight, they've been asking him to throw too much, and he's made mistakes.
This has been a team playing with the lead. They have 105 points in the first half the last 4 games. Just 3 here tonight. Jackson across the line of scrimmage, taking off, getting a block, getting to the 44. They want the flag. Oh, my goodness, and they get it. Add 15 to that. It's going to take the Vikings to the Bears 41 as Tommy Harris, Charles Tillman, and Urlacher were there on the paint. This would be a dumb penalty.
Yeah, it was a dumb penalty. There's no question of that. 8 seconds in a timeout. The Vikings can throw the ball in.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness defense. Hit on the quarterback as he was out of bounds. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Now they can throw the ball in the field of play and use that timeout real quick, Mike. So that really was just, I mean, it's just, what else can you say? Just a dumb play.
So from here, a field goal would be 58 yards. 2 reminders. Ryan Longwell hit a 55-yarder in the first meeting between these teams to win the game in Chicago outdoors. He had a long field goal attempt indoors that was short, and Antonio Cromartie of San Diego returned it for the longest touchdown ever in the NFL. A play that'll stand forever as the longest, 109 yards. Bears in their typical cover 2. Jackson, quick slant, is caught by Sidney Rice, and field goal range with 4 seconds at a timeout. They're going to have a chance for about a 47-yarder, so you wonder, 30 seconds left, 2 timeouts, back at your own 27. Your young quarterback's just made a mistake. Maybe I should just put it in the deep freeze and go to halftime. No, they took a shot down the field, and it may pay off in 3 points.
There's a maturation process. I love it. You got to let a quarterback grow up. You're going to have some peaks and valleys with any young quarterback or even a veteran quarterback. But Brad Childress keeps dialing up the plays along with Darrell Bevel, the offense coordinator, giving the young quarterback a chance.
It's officially going to be a 48-yard field goal attempt for Longwell. Good earlier from 42. And has this one from 48 at the end of the half.
That is huge for the Minnesota Vikings, now making it a 1-score game.
Boy, that penalty, a massive help. The Bears get the ball, the Vikings, get the ball to start the third. It's 13-6 Bears. Happy holidays to Chris Berman in the studio. Boomer.
And right back at you, Mike. Thank you.
Very near the line of scrimmage.
You sold me a bill of goods. You told me all week Tavares Jackson was going to be great. They've been pathetic. Let's be fair.
I didn't say great. I said he's a young quarterback developing. I expect him to play better than he played in that first half.
Andre Allison on the return, brought down at the 15-yard line by Corey Graham. Let's go down to the sideline of Michelle Tafoya.
Mike, I just spoke with Brad Childress moments ago. He was very happy with the way Tavares Jackson handled the 2-minute drill before halftime, but he said the defense is doing its part. Now we get the ball first and we have to get busy. One bad note for the defense, Mike, and this is big. Antoine Winfield out for the remainder of the game with a left shoulder. He had a big first half. He's done for the night.
We had a huge first half. Had to happen on that second-to-last play there before the McKee touchdown, so the Vikings take over at their own 16, trailing by 7.
Didn't he throw an interception?
A bad one in that too.
Coming back in the last 30 seconds with the completion and then the second completion and the scramble that set up the field goal. Peterson is dumped in the backfield by Lance Briggs, a continuation, Ron, of Chicago's solid performance in the first half on the 7th overall pick in the draft.
Well, to stop Adrian Peterson, it's all about penetration. Here you got the 8 in the box. There you got Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Here you got the fake reverse, but Alex Brown didn't go for it. Again, now you're going to see Adewale Ogunleye, a penetration in the backfield, making the play. You cannot let Adrian Peterson get started. The Bears are not.
As he did against the Bears at Soldier Field in Week 6. Jackson almost intercepted as he tried the slant for Ferguson, read by Charles Tillman, who almost had pick 3 of the year, and it is a struggle right now for the second-year quarterback, Tavares Jackson.
It was a misread by Tavares Jackson. It was clear double zone, 2 safeties deep, and the corner is able to jump the play, as Tillman does right there. Should have had the interception.
Jaws. You sell me on Adrian Peterson, you sell me on Tavares Jackson.
Okay.
Bears are used to winning games like this without offense. Minnesota's supposed to have an offense.
Quite honestly, I'm a bit surprised, Tony.
Okay.
3rd and 11, pressure coming from Briggs. And from Manning, but it's completed to Andre Allison, who stepped out of bounds. Only a gain of 3 yards. Jackson was lucky to get rid of it. We'll have 4th down. And you know, guys, we were talking earlier in the week, and as I was getting ready for the game, here are the Vikings. They've won 4 in a row, but they have young players in key positions, and December games, when you control your own fate, it's like moving from that $20 table to that $100 blackjack table. The stakes go up, and the young players are struggling here tonight. We'll see if Devin Hester with a full field gets his hands on the ball here.
Is that a move you make a lot at the tables?
No.
20 to 100? I just want to know, because I want to party with you.
Only when I'm following you. Low snap. Will it be hard to directional kick this one for Kluwe? Return time for Hester. 53-yard kick. Setting him up from the 27. Slips and falls. Not touchdown, but touchdown there at the 36-yard line. That's like Barry Bonds, the one pitch you get to see all game. It's your one chance to hit it out of the park.
Right down the middle of the field, it kicked it.
Yep.
ESPN's Monday Night.
You're just getting close to 30. That's lovely for this time of year. Bears take over, leading by 7. First drive, 3rd quarter for Kyle Orton. This play killed by a pre-snap flag. This will be the 4th pre-snap motion flag on the Bears tonight. Tony Correnti, our referee.
False start, offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That was on Musa Muhammad, and this is Susie Colvin.
Well, guys, Lovie Smith told us that Kyle Orton was going to get the start because he deserved to have the opportunity, and they were looking for a spark. Well, at halftime, he told me that he thinks he's doing a super job managing the game, making plays, and expect them to do a lot more things with the passing game in the second half. And I'm curious what Jaws thinks about that.
After the Bears' 8th flag, Peterson runs for a gain of about 5.
What we're seeing is offense being set back about 10 years on the performance of both teams here this evening.
There are Orton's numbers. Ron, what strengths, when you went back and looked at Kyle from 05 in the preseason, does he have to give him a chance as he steps into this job?
I thought he was really good at anticipating routes between the numbers, using the tight end, using the back out of the backfield. He was an erratic deep thrower, and we've seen that tonight. He doesn't have a strong enough arm to get the ball to the outside, but I think basically he is a caretaker-type quarterback.
On 2nd and 10, pressure, put it up in the air, incomplete. Orton never saw E.J. Henderson flying in back to his middle linebacker spot that he played well when he came in the league.
Well, E.J. Henderson has 3.5 sacks this season and 16 hurries. This will go down as a hurry, Tony.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with the notion that Kyle Orton's doing a great job managing this game. You see shots of Brian Greasy, shots of Rex Grossman. Chicago needs a quarterback. Tavares Jackson not doing well. Minnesota, the happiest guy in America right now, Donovan McNabb, whose name is always rumored to be on the way out of Philadelphia. Here are 2 teams he could go to and look awfully good.
He's still property of the Philadelphia Eagles, and all Donovan wants to do is win.
3rd and 10, blitz from the secondary. Orton gets rid of it. Incomplete, intended for Mark Bradley. 3 and out for the Bears.
Okay, you live in Philadelphia,
That's
you read
correct.
the papers, you're plugged in, and you know that the majority of thinking is that Donovan McNabb is probably not going to be back next year. Am I right?
Well, I think there's always a theory when a quarterback is drafted as your heir apparent. It happened to me back in 1985 when Randall Cunningham was drafted, and I knew eventually it was going to be his football team. I think Donovan feels a little bit of heat when you take a guy in the 2nd round as the heir apparent.
He's a Chicago guy. That's his home, and he played for Childress at Philadelphia. These 2 spots might look very good to Donovan McNabb.
I would agree with you there.
Maynard's kick. I don't know if the Viking player, Marcus McCauley, thought it hit one of his teammates, but on the bounce, he does return it close to midfield, and Adam Archuleta, the once starting safety of this team, makes the tackle. So the Vikings will take over at their own 49. It was just free. The rookie McCall got it and returned it 22 yards. their first real good against the Pistons starts a great NBA Wednesday doubleheader. The Suns and Mavs. That means Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash, the buddies, get together again. That's our NBA Wednesday doubleheader on ESPN. Don't forget our ABC Christmas Day doubleheader 8 days from now as the NBA season kicks in. When we went to break, we said the Vikings had the ball near midfield, but the officials came in and corrected this play. Watch Bobby Wade, the returner. He signals fair catch. Because he signals fair catch and it's fielded by McCauley, that means the ball is automatically possession of the receiving team at that spot at the 27-yard line. So the officials do the good job of cleaning that up. The 22-yard return is negated. Viking ball at their own 27. Looking for their first touchdown of the night. Urlacher comes through the gut and sacks Tavares Jackson.
Having a pretty good game, Urlacher.
Huh? Phenomenal game. And Urlacher, tremendous diagnosis of the play and then anticipation. Right now, Jackson's got to hold the count. Let Peterson see that he's up there at the line of scrimmage to go up and make the block. This is terrific play by Brian Urlacher.
Urlacher, who has been to 6 Pro Bowls, once the Defensive Rookie of the Year, once the Defensive Player of the Year in the National Football League, and the face of this Bears franchise during the recent good run. Chester Taylor back in the game. Jackson's throw caught by Wade. He gets to the 28-yard line. 3rd and 8 coming up. Here's Susie again.
Well, you know, Tony talked about in the first half how Brian Urlacher wasn't going to use talk of an arthritic back as an excuse for not playing well this season. He said, sure, it's frustrating, but then he said there's nothing really wrong. Everybody's blown it out of proportion. But he is resigned to the fact that he will always have it in his back. There are some things he can do to calm it down, like physical therapy. But more than anything, he needs rest. That's not his style.
Well, the Bears are going to have it come the playoffs unless they make a miraculous finish here, win out and get a ton of help. They're doing the win part tonight. Jackson got rid of it. Caught. Robert Ferguson still going. Bears missed a tackle. Chased down, but cuts to the middle. And Ferguson will go all the way to the 1-yard line. 71 yards for the former Packer who was cut in training camp, eventually chased down by Charles Tillman.
Now the Vikings have to get down there, get huddled. The clock is moving. Here they are celebrating a long play. They're going to probably have to use a timeout. Tavares Jackson running down the field celebrating. Now your clock is down to 17 seconds.
It's the longest reception of Ferguson's career. Tillman chased it all the way down to get it to the 1. 5 Bears missed the would-be tackle. The Vikings have 5 on the play clock with Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Got it. Peterson. Touchdown, Vikings. Adrian Peterson's father looks on after his son scores touchdown number 11 as a running back on the ground this year. Longwell on for the tying score. Oh, he missed it to the left. It was a very tough snap to handle, and the punter, Chris Kluwe, never got it there. Cullen Loeffler, the snapper, gave him a bad one. Kluwe couldn't do it, and those hang around forever. Look at the snap by Loeffler. Kluwe just couldn't catch it clean. The laces were facing to the side. Kickers never like that, and those always hang around. Tapped off by Adrian Peterson's 11th rushing touchdown. Makes it a 1-point game after the missed extra point. Hester on the bounce. Hemmed in, well covered by the Vikings. Eric Frampton's second tackle of the kickoff tonight at the 31. So Minnesota's handled the presence of Hester well. Back to the touchdown.
You know, the throw will be thrown off of Lance Briggs. You see him drop out into coverage, and he jumps. You'll see him right there, Adrian Peterson. That opens up the lane for Ferguson. Tavares does a nice job of reading the coverage, getting the ball out of his hand. It's a simple either-or throw. That got the ball down to the 1-yard line, and it's Adrian Peterson over the top to get the Minnesota Vikings within 1 point of the Bears.
Yeah, that critical extra point miss. The snap was low. Couldn't get the laces to the goalpost, but as you said, Ron, still got to make it.
No, you got it. It's an extra point, Mike. It wasn't a perfect snap. You got to make that kick. That simple. No excuses.
From the 32, Kyle Orton and the Bears. Their offense has done very little tonight. Orton sacked. A loss of 7 as Kenichi Udeze, the former #1 pick out of USC, makes the play.
That was purely a coverage sack. Outstanding defense in the secondary. The third level of defense by the Vikings allowed Udeze. You see him be blocked. Orton's got to pull the ball down. That ball's got to be out of his hand in 1.5 seconds. You hold the ball, that's exactly what will happen, a sack.
On that long play by Ferguson, Craig Rolstead, who was the field judge, one of the 7 officials, was injured. They are working on him, so we have 6 officials right now. Peterson, a run. Adrian got out of the first tackle. Gets 4 to the 29-yard line. We'll have third and about 13 coming up, 5 minutes into this third quarter.
The Vikings defense has picked up their energy. That touchdown has really got them motivated right now. Hester split at the top of the screen.
Four-man rush. Stunt. Orton. Incomplete for Musa Muhammad. Udeze, who got his 5th sack of the year a moment ago, started on the end, loops inside, and forced Orton to get rid of it quickly.
Excellent stunt. As you see, the leg stunt, that's the left end, and the tackle in an exchange, and Udeze gets right in Kyle Orton's face.
If you believe it all in momentum, you're seeing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're seeing a shift to Minnesota right at this very minute.
Yeah, I use the word energy. You know, as I study tape all week, you almost sense a team playing with great energy. I know right now the Vikings are.
Louis kicks to Bobby Wade. Fair caught. 45-yard kick, no return. Vikings take over at the 26. Down 1. Riding away. The difference in the game for the Vikings trying to maintain control of their playoff destiny. Get to 8-6. Taking over from their own 26. Our injured official, the field judge, has returned. So Craig Rolstead means we have 7 officials back on the field. Jackson looking for the deep shot down the middle. It is intercepted. Taken away by Brendan McGowan, who's brought down at the 48-yard line. That is 4 turnovers for the Vikings here tonight.
What was I saying about momentum? Jaws, we both thought it had shifted completely to Minnesota, and it is undone on the first play they have the ball back.
Jackson gives it right back to the Chicago Bears. They had a double move at the top of the screen. The pump. Corner didn't bite. He comes back to the seam way late. That's just asking for trouble right there. You see McGowan undercut it because it's late. If he doesn't make the pick, Charles Tillman might.
Last 4 games, Tavares Jackson, 4 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions, got 2 already. 2 interceptions already.
3.
McGowan's second pick, the other one at Lambeau Field this year. The gain for Adrian Peterson is just a yard to the 48-yard line.
Maybe we make too much of the 4 in a row. The first one was Oakland. The second was the Giants, a pretty good team. The 49ers are in there, not a very good team. The Lions sinking rapidly to being not a very good team. Maybe the 4 in a row is built on, on cheese.
It's 4 in a row. It's hard to win in the National Football League. Ask the Miami Dolphins. This is tough business. It's hard to win. I don't care who you play.
Hester at the bottom of the screen. Peterson runs to the left, and Adrian gets to the 43-yard line. And come back to that point we were talking about with their easier schedule. You have to take advantage of those if you're going to be a good team. But this is just a different level of game for these players, for Jackson and for Peterson. And let's not forget what we talked about at the very beginning. Division game, the Bears, this is their last shot. They're not going to take a standing 8. They're going to go down like the heavyweight Chicago Bears, like the NFC champs, swinging. Their offense may be swinging and missing, but the defense is still hitting.
Swinging and hitting.
3rd and 4. To Hester, bubble screen, no blocking, loss of 3. Charles Gordon, the 5th defensive back on the field, and where have you heard this before? The Bears go 3 and out.
But you're left to think as you watch the game that Minnesota's giving the game away in the process, right, of giving the game away.
Well, the turnovers are certainly hurting them, and as we talked to Brad Childress, and he showed me the stat, 85% if you're +1 or better in the turnover to win. Right now, they're -4. It's tough to win, but yet they're 1 point behind.
Maynard will kick it away again to Wade. The Bears have gone 3 and out 7 times tonight. This one's going to bounce and come back to the 21. Good job by that Bears player who had gone out of bounds. He knew he couldn't come back in and be the first to legally touch it. Frustrating night for the Bears offense to do anything on 3rd down or anything, period.
First or second down as well.
That's right. From the 22, Peterson runs into the waiting arms of Hunter Hillenmeyer. Just a game of a couple of yards. You know, Tavares Jackson is struggling tonight. 2nd-round pick late in the 2nd round last year, becoming a starter this year. And Brad Childress is the quarterback. And sometimes, I guess the word that comes to mind with a young quarterback and a coach who molds quarterbacks is seamlessly intertwined. That's your guy. You just are going to live and die by him sometimes in the early phases, and right now Jackson's having one of his toughest nights.
Yeah, and a head coach and a quarterback, it's a high draft choice. You are joined at the hip.
Peterson can't get anything going there, and some of the specifics of the quarterback for Brad Childress tonight.
Yeah, and Tavares, he's not mechanically sound so far tonight. I mean, mechanics are awful. You'll see this throw here, not on balance. He completes this ball, but you're never going to be consistent throwing the football with these type of mechanics. You'll see Rice wide open. He's leaping in the air, throwing him the football. Here, people around him. Take the sack or throw the ball out of bounds. Leaping in the air, that throw was intercepted. He must be more judicious where he's throwing the football. But I think to be consistent over a long period of time in the National Football League, you must be sound fundamentally and mechanically. Right now, Jackson is not.
Chester Taylor's in. Bears bringing the heat. Getting to Jackson again. And again, it's Urlacher. Well, he hasn't had a good season, but the Pro Bowl teams come out tomorrow, and it's just a reminder that he can still play at that Honolulu level.
Well, Matt Burke right there sliding to his left just opens up the hole for Brian Urlacher, and there's just a breakdown in the communication and the scheme. Of course, you got to give the Bears some credit. When you have that empty backfield like they had right there, wow, there's one you can't block. There's one more than you can block. Quarterback's got to get rid of the football. He didn't have a chance.
Good snap this time. They kick to Hester, and here's Devin at the 33. Hesitating, setting up, waiting for a place to get through a seam. Got a block on the edge. Hester keeping it going. Can he cut back to the middle? Nice job by the Vikings to stop him at midfield. Charles Gordon makes the tackle. Heath Farwell was complaining that he was held on that 16-yard return. By far the most exciting plays of the night for the Bears.
If I could speak different languages, in every language I would speak, I would ask the same question in that language. Why would you kick to him? But Jaws, let's go back to the thing about the quarterbacks for a second. You say they're joined at the hip.
Yes.
Why are you joined at the hip to a 2nd-round draft pick? Joined at the hip to a 1st-round draft pick. Why it's
second round is pretty high, and they feel he's their guy that eventually you could build the quarterback that you could have for a decade.
First down for Kyle Orton. Busting through the middle is Jamie Mitchell. And eventually the sack comes down with Pat Williams, but a penalty marker is down in the secondary. Interesting, while all this is going on, Brad Childress is still having a conversation with his punter, Chris Cluey, back at the bench area, talking about kicking to Devin Hester, and how he's had 2 return opportunities the last 2 times.
Holding, defense number 31. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Marcus McCauley called there.
I'm sure that Childress is saying, how many languages do you speak? How many times do I have to say, do not kick it to him?
Kick it out of bounds or close to the sideline where we can shrink the field. He's kicked the last 2 right down the middle, given that 160 feet sideline to sideline available to Devin Hester.
It's the old read my lips, no new taxes, right? Peterson up the middle. Gains about 1.5 yards. E.J. Henderson is there, and here's a marker coming in as things get to vintage Bears-Vikings late on the pile. Little punch from the side was detected.
At the conclusion of the play, personal foul, offense number 69, threw a punch at a defensive player. 15-yard penalty. The down will count, second down.
Fred Miller, 12th-year man out of Baylor, been around the league a long time, knows what you can and can't get away with. Didn't get away with it. Watch the left side of your screen.
See it right there.
He's engaged with Jamie Mitchell. As he said, the down counts. That's important. So you're back to 2nd and a quarter of the field. Hester on the field, not a part of the play. Peterson underneath. Broke 2 tackles. Adrian Peterson for the Bears out of Georgia Southern takes it to the 40 and gains a lot of the penalty yardage back.
Great job by Kyle Orton, pressure in the pocket, extending the play, found Adrian Peterson, checked it down, and I guess about a 20-yard play right there.
Yep,
good job by Orton. People around him, 18 yards on the play. Mike, you count a lot faster than I do.
3rd and 6 coming up. Inside handoff, Peterson keeps going and got a decision here. Just shy of the 34, looks to be a hair short of the first down. Sure, we'll get a measurement and some time to think about. Do you want to go for a 51, 52-yard field goal or try to make it on 4th and short, knowing you've struggled in short yardage this year, or this week?
This one's short. It's going to be 4th down, and the Bears are going to go for it.
It's funny, this is short yardage. The Bears have been the best in the league on 3rd and 1, making 18 out of 19, but they struggled in that situation tonight. 0 for 3 on 3rd and 1, but they have converted 4th and 1. Play action. McKee. Vikings take over.
We've seen some really bad quarterback play tonight. Jaws, you're a quarterback. I mean, on both sides of the ball. Did you say we're setting back offense 10 years? You want to revise that? You want to go further?
This is tough. I agree. You got Jason McKee out in the flat. I know there was a little undercut of the route by the linebacker, but that's a throw you got to kind of drop in the bucket. It's a tough throw, but you got to make that throw. This is the National Football League.
And McKee's out there, who's caught some passes this year, 8, but I know there are Bear fans in the suburbs and sitting in Chicago downtown.
I know what you're thinking, Mike.
Are you kidding me? This is the Bears. It's 4th and 1. Run the football.
They've had success this year, though, with the play action.
Here goes Peterson into the secondary. Adrian Peterson's long run of the night. Gain of 15.
Mike, they've got to work that left side. This season, 6.26 yards per carry, running to the left side, to the right side, only 4.8 yards on that left side. You got your hogs, your road graders, McKinney, Hutchinson, Burke. Hammer that left side. Enough said. We'll probably throw a pass here, it'll be intercepted.
I'm staying out of your way. You're going well.
I'm taking back some of my quarterback fraternity cards.
13 carries for Peterson, 41 yards. Vikings from midfield. Right back to him. The elusiveness you see there, but terrific pursuit. Charles Tillman and Nathan Vasher, the corners for the Bears tonight, have been outstanding. Tillman on that tackle.
And sometimes you have to take what is blocked. There were 4 or 5 yards there available for Adrian Peterson. He looked for the big play, bouncing to the outside. You'll see here, stretch play to the left. Hit it up in there. Get yourself 3 or 4 yards. No, he takes it back to the outside, where you have a lot of waiting people, and particularly Charles Tillman. Stay on schedule, Mike.
Chester Taylor in. Second and long, Taylor makes a couple of men miss. Israel Adonijah was waiting. Defensive end by trade, playing tackle tonight. Yard shy of the first down, and we'll see if the Vikings let the third quarter spin down.
For most of this game, the Bears have been playing with 8 defenders in the box. Second and long situation, they went to 2 deep coverage. Only 7 defenders in the box. Tavares Jackson, nice job of seeing that. Went to the lag draw play, hit it up in there for 9 yards. That's what a quarterback has to do. give you in a position where you have the best shot of succeeding. That time Tavares had a nice audible at the line.
So the Vikings have turned it over 4 times. The Bears, none. The Bears offense has done nothing on the ground or in the air. The Vikings are still alive. A missed extra point, the only difference in this 1-point game. Fourth quarter on Monday Night Football. Here's the Giants still hold their own destiny. So too do the Minnesota Vikings. However, Vikings down 1. If they can't come back and win, here come the Saints and the Redskins. You'd have a 3-way tie at 7-7. If the Vikings do win tonight, the Bears, Eagles, Lions, and Cardinals would be eliminated. And of course, Washington comes in here to Minneapolis next Sunday evening. The quarter begins with 3rd and short, and Adrian Peterson stopped. Let's see the mark on forward progress. He is short, and we will have 4th down. So Peterson, 11 of his 15 carries tonight have been for 2 or fewer yards, including that one. And now let's see what Brad Childress will do.
You have to go for it, don't you, George?
Yeah,
the number 1 rushing team in the league. You have to go for it.
You know, you've got an outstanding offensive line. Again, short yardage, they hammer to the right when I think, you know, your best bunch is over there on the left side. But I'm not calling the plays. I'm just questioning them.
Going to have a measurement here.
Going to be a couple links short.
See that 4 turnover deal, guys? If you just think back, the Bears just a couple of weeks ago at Soldier Field did the near impossible. They lost at home to the Giants in a game in which they had a +4 turnover advantage. 4 takeaways, no giveaways, just like tonight. That game against the Giants, the first loss with a +4 or better turnover margin since the Bears lost at Baltimore in November 1970 to the Colts.
Well, they liked it so much, maybe they can do it again.
You know, for the most part, stats are for losers. You can do anything you want with them, but the turnover stat, that is the most important statistic.
And can you imagine losing 2 games in a short span with a +4 turnover margin? It's unbelievable. So the Vikings will go for it. I'm sure the inability of the Bears offense to move it factors in here. You give them the ball at the +40, the -40, wouldn't matter. 4th and a yard.
Well, you got a Matt Burke, run the quarterback sneak.
Jackson keeping, pushing forward, and got a bubble to get a 1st down. At the 38-yard line. Drive alive, and here's Michelle Tafoya.
Mike, you know, every week Brad Childress gathers the team at the team hotel the night before the game and presents a specific theme using words and video. Well, last night, he gathered them up, and in addition to the video, the theme was this: we have gone from success to significant, from agony to ecstatic. But have we gone from good to great? And what does that take? And it doesn't quite look like it tonight, Mike.
No, it's not. This is
an understatement.
Yeah, this is a team in the process of trying to build. They're trying to stay alive in this playoff race. Jackson, Bobby Wade, caught it. Former Viking, former Bear, beg your pardon, just shy of the 20, a 19-yard 1st down game.
Mike, that throw is available all day long. Call it. 8 in the box. Go play action. Look at McGowan up there at the line of scrimmage. You got big old lanes to throw the football into. That's like 7-on-7. In other words, at practice when there are no linemen, that's easy.
Peterson's the back on 1st down. Adrian left side waiting for a block. Got through 1. Got about 7 yards to the 13-yard line. Brandon McGowan in on the tackle. And the ability to run with Peterson like that helps set up what you mentioned earlier, Ron. Play action passes, the highest percentage thrown. Jackson, 10 over the league average and ahead of Breeze and Manning.
Yeah, and probably the number that we don't show there, you see the 29% play action. He is not really good at it. His quarterback rating is 74 out of the play action. The NFL average is 94. So although they use a lot of it, he's not proficient at it.
Lining up with power. Jackson running to the 5. 1st and goal for the Vikings. McGowan with the tackle again.
This is the way they won those 4 games. By running the ball and passing only when it was available, not being a pass-first team, by running it right. Now, Adrian Peterson's not getting a lot of yards tonight, but the theory of the offense was this, and Tavares Jackson runs well and has run the entire year.
Nice job here, a little gimmick gadget play down here in the red zone. Tavares Jackson, the last 4 games, 90 yards rushing, so he can extend the play with his legs.
Ferguson and Wade go to the top. Peterson's the back on 1st and goal. Pressure from the Bears picked up. Peterson is brought down. Matt Tuina comes in, the rookie out of Oregon, seeing rare action at that very depleted defensive line spot.
And doing a terrific job. That left side, Matt Burke, Steve Hutchinson, Brian McKinney, all that money invested left side, they just got driven back that time.
Charles Tillman, who's had a very good game, is the Bear who is on a knee, and the game has been 31 carries over the last 7 quarters, 47 total yards, and only 5 carries tonight, Tony, over 2 yards.
Well, let's talk about that. That first game versus Chicago, 224 yards and just 20 carries and 3 touchdowns. People remember that. If you're the Chicago Bears and you know that Adrian Peterson is coming out tonight and everybody thinks he's a wunderkind, you want to stop him especially. That's exactly what they've done.
I was excited.
Walking with own impetus, being essentially aided off by 2 medical personnel from the Bears. So he is out. Sidney Rice got tangled with him. He is also out. Back to this Minnesota drive. It's play 10 of a drive that started after the Bears were stopped on 4th and 1. 2nd and goal from the 8. And Jackson play action to Peterson. Nobody open in the end zone. Just throwing it away as he got out of the tackle box and was being shown toward the sideline. And Jackson is slow to recover after that hit. And he's going to be coming out, it appears. So Jackson, as he was rolling out, gets hurt. The backup quarterback tonight is Brooks Bollinger, who had 9 starts with the Jets in 2005 for Chad Pennington and Vinny Testaverde when they were hurt. Started at Green Bay. Just as he got it out, just trying to get out of the way, Jackson was slowed up there. So Brooks Bollinger,
well, they better hurry.
Started that 30-40 nothing game at Green Bay, and the Vikings are forced to take a timeout as that clock reset quickly. So another injury to Tavares Jackson, who's been injured already 3 times this season. Philly and San Diego, and got the start at Green Bay in game 9 of the season. In here on 3rd and goal from the 8. And they'll just run with Peterson, almost mess up the handoff, but Peterson scores! They will go for 2, and only fitting on this night of less than scintillating offense that essentially a near disaster in the backfield turns into a touchdown.
They run into each other.
That went from fumble to touchdown in 1 second.
Brandon McGowan in the backfield misses the tackle, and Adrian Peterson does the rest.
Peterson's 2nd touchdown of the night, 12th rushing touchdown of the year, 13th touchdown of the season. The Vikings will go for 2 for the first time this year. Chester Taylor in the slot in this empty backfield. And Bollinger, quarterback draw. And the former Badger from Wisconsin scores the 2-point conversion.
Welcome to Monday Night Football, where Kyle Orton and Brooks Bollinger are your quarterbacks, boys and girls.
Now you're piling on, Tony. Now you're piling on.
Bollinger came in, did great.
Thank you.
Brooks Bollinger, who played for Brad Childress when Childress was Barry Alvarez's offensive coordinator across the border at the University of Wisconsin, comes up with this 2-point conversion. Guy who's just hung around in the league here, traded from the Jets in 2006, and the Vikings take a 7-point lead. A lot of injuries on that last set of downs. Let's get an update. Michelle first.
Well, Tavares Jackson is getting his calf worked on, that left calf. It appears he has cramps. They're stretching it out, and they've been giving him lots of electrolytes. But one of his best wide receivers, Sidney Rice, is still in the locker room. He went there in a cart. It's a right ankle injury. He is questionable. He tried to walk, but athletic trainer Eric Sugarman made him get on the cart to go to the locker room. So we'll find out just how serious that is, Mike.
Okay, Michelle, let's watch what the Vikings do here. Devin Hester back deep to receive. It's been squib kickoffs, mostly to the Vikings left all night. This time they come to the Vikings right, and Hester from the 16. On the short kick, Hester with a seam. Devin Hester made the first man miss again. A flag is down behind the play. Hester gets to the 47, but this could be coming back.
On the return, holding, receiving team number 25. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Called on Garrett Wolf, negating the Hester return of 30 yards. 25 on the left side. Had a grab of Darren Sharper.
You know, Mike, these squib kicks, these mortars that you're trying, nothing seems to work against Devin Hester. Tony, why are they kicking to him?
I pose this question all the time. It's like when Barry Bonds hit everything out. You don't pitch to him, and you don't kick to Devin Hester.
Bears trail for the first time tonight. Orton to Garrett Wolf. Just had the holding penalty. Gets out of the McCauley tackle. Good gain of about 8. A couple of yards shy of the first down. Here's Susie Culver.
Well, Mike, it looked bad for quarterback Charles Tillman, but all encouraging now because it really took him a while just to even get to his feet after this big hit. He was helped off the field, and when he got to the sideline, he immediately fell to his knees and began throwing up. Maybe the product of a stomach problem, because I saw the same thing earlier in the game. They say he just had the wind knocked out of him, but he's been up on the sideline running around.
Yeah, tangled with Sidney Rice on that play. Gain of 9 on the screen to Wolf, the pass to Wolf. And now Garrett gets a full first down with Jamie Mitchell tackling. So we got both starting running backs, Adrian Petersons. Ziggy Wolf and the Wolf family own the Vikings. This is Garrett Wolf.
No relation.
No different relation. Spelling.
That's right.
But confusing nonetheless.
That throw-up line on the sideline got me. That's the one I like. Do we have a camera on that?
That was just a comment on the quarterback play.
Susie's really working down there.
First down for the Bears. From the 32, down 7, inside of 10 minutes. Kyle Orton complete. Bernard Berrien tried to shake free from Dwight Smith. Brought down at the 47-yard line. Back-to-back first downs for the Bears. A gain of 15.
Tony, the quarterbacks are heating up now.
That's good.
Just takes a little bit of time here in the Dome.
I have a statistic you'll like, by the way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The Bears, 4 of their 5 wins, they were trailing at some point in the fourth quarter. So they do not quit. They have a chance to win the game still, which I know makes you happy.
Absolutely. We may have overtime.
That's not stretching.
Wolf remains the running back. Rookie, Northern Illinois. Picking up the blitz, did a nice job doing it. Here's Greg Olsen, rookie tight end out of the U, out of Miami. Gets to the 40-yard line, first down. And the Bears with their best offensive sequence of the night. Chad Greenway, the tackle.
And the Vikings came with their zone blitz that time, and they end up with Kenichi Udeze matched up on Greg Olsen. That's not a good matchup for the Vikings. So you see Udeze right there runs by him. Olsen takes it up the field.
After the first catch of the night for Olsen, Bears at the Viking 40. Right back to the air, screen set up, couldn't get to it. The pressure was coming, but the patience of Spencer Johnson to stand in the way of the running back, able to get it done.
Yeah, Spencer Johnson did a real nice job of reading his screen.
Well, we talk about the Bears and their offensive struggles tonight. There it is, 13 possessions, averaging only about 11 yards per possession.
That's not good.
9 first downs. 3 of them come here on this drive, and 7 of the 13 possessions have been 3 and outs.
The next report will be Lovie Smith vomiting on the sideline.
Just a lack of playmakers, really. Yeah. They just have a lack of playmakers. Devin Hester on the field. Here is the pass to Wolf. And the offensive line never sensed Cedric Griffin behind him. And the tackle is made for no gain.
They've had a poor offense all year. Lovie Smith likes to say that they are a run-first team, but they don't get any yards. You're looking at Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, so good last year when Rex Grossman was so good, but this year doesn't develop Rex Grossman. Running back Cedric Benson didn't work out at all. You know, they missed Thomas Jones. The tight end, the first pick, Greg Olson, people feel he hasn't maxed out. There's pressure on Ron Turner. He could take the fall for the Bears' total lack of offense.
And their offensive line has struggled all season long, and that's where it starts.
They're down to a third-string quarterback. The first and second-string quarterbacks have produced basically nothing. The Bears have made a living on defense this year. That's not there, and there's no offense.
Timeout Bears. Third and long 9. 4 down territory.
Not yet. Too much time left. 7:39 to go. I think if you don't get it here, unless you get in a fourth and short situation, you would punt it.
Factors in your play calling. You may want to get 5 or 6 and then make a decision. Orton, pressure coming. It was picked up on the corner. Nobody's open. He throws incomplete down the middle. Orton, as he tried to stride into the pass. Kevin Williams, who sees those constant double teams, had a hand on his ankle. The Bears are now 1 of 14 on third down, and let's see what to say. Oh, a flag is down. On the Bears.
There are 2 fouls on the play, holding offense number 78. This penalty is declined. Intentional grounding, offense, loss of down, 4th down.
Interesting intentional grounding call. Rarely do you see that on a pass thrown 20 yards downfield. He was in the pocket.
It's a bad call, Mike. He was trying to get Rasheed Davis down the seam. You know, he was trying to get him the football. He just had people hanging on.
Somebody hanging on his leg.
You'll see it right here. You know, he steps up in the pocket. Rasheed Davis now going down the middle as
that's an awful call. That's a terrible call. Oh, man. It doesn't matter because there was one flag anyway.
Well, it's still a bad call because that's the loss of down.
That's the problem with it, yeah. Wow, that is really poor. Maynard from the 49 will kick it away. Great hang time. Can they stop it? Yes. Well covered special teams-wise for the Bears. Corey Graham was the one who kept it alive, and 5 seconds of hang time gives the Vikings 98 yards with 7.5 left, and Tavares Jackson will return after suffering from those cramps.
You know, we look at Kyle Orton, and it's obvious that he's having a terrible evening. And it's easy to make fun of him, and God knows I make a living doing something like that. But honestly, Jaws, what can they expect? He hasn't played in 2 years. He's the third-string quarterback on a team where both the first and second-string quarterback don't measure up in anybody's mind in the city of Chicago. What more could you ask out of Orton?
I agree with you, and they needed to find out what he could do as they make plans for the future.
He's not in them.
Vikings have turned it over 4 times tonight. They start from their own 2. Peterson. Adrian Peterson explodes to the secondary. To the 29, 27 yards.
I am almost surprised he did not take that to the house. He had that little seam, and he has incredible acceleration. You know, my friend Merrill Hodge calls him the cash register because he makes the defense pay if you don't maintain your gap discipline.
It's the same building, the same field, and the same end on Monday Night Football a couple of decades ago when Tony Dorsett went 99.5 yards for the longest touchdown in the NFL.
He was actually Tony Dorsett then. Then he became Tony Dorsett as the endorsements piled up.
19 carries, 80 yards, a couple of touchdowns for Peterson tonight. His carries coming late here, just a couple of yards. Michelle has more.
Well, Adrian Peterson told me that when he broke the single-season rushing record, 296 yards against San Diego, it was an incredible feeling. And when he looked back at the game film, he saw how the offensive line was making the accomplishment possible. So I asked, well, in the spirit of holiday giving, will you bestow gifts on your guys up front? And he said, if, and this is if I'm lucky enough to go to the Pro Bowl, I might just bring some of those guys with me. Although, Mike, some of those guys might get there on their own.
That's right. Steve Hutchinson, Matt Burke, multiple Pro Bowlers. Bryant McKinney's done a good job at the left tackle spot. After a gain of 2, Tavares Jackson to the air to Bobby Wade. Half a yard shy of the first down before 3rd and 1. SportsCenter 30-30, John Anderson.
Thank you, Mike. Hey, what makes a man leave almost heaven? Well, according to New Michigan coach Rich Rodriguez, it's a special opportunity and a special place. Rodriguez says somebody else will coach West Virginia in the Festival. He is concentrating on the big house. NFL, the league suspends Cowboy safety Roy Williams 1 game and a paycheck for his most recent horse collar. His grab of Donovan McNabb 4th offense in less than 2 seasons. Full Sports Center coming right after the game.
Thank you, John. NFL Primetime follows that, so there's plenty of NFL coverage still ahead here tonight on ESPN. You see how short the Vikings are. They need that first full foot, I should say, for a first down conversion.
But Tony, you look historically at the NFC and this division in particular, the old black and blue. This is how teams played. They win ugly. It's not a pretty game. Quarterbacks aren't playing very well. But I find it very entertaining.
Well, they used to win that way outdoors. And now 2 of the teams in the league have had domes for quite some time. And maybe the emphasis on running the ball shifted away from some of these teams. They became pass-happy, the indoor teams.
It's the Vikings 26th.
Going back.
Vikings 26th season.
They're going back to running.
Yeah.
When Brian Billick was a coordinator here, they threw the ball all the time, and now they're going back to running.
3rd, less than a yard. The fullback, Richardson, gets the first down to the 42, and that should take a couple of minutes off the clock here and get you down to about the 3-minute mark.
The problem you have, when you have a really good running team, Jaws, as you know, the problem you have is if you fall behind by 2 scores, it's very hard for you to catch up. You are not a passing team. It takes a long time to get down the field running unless somebody breaks a great play, but it's just harder.
And especially with a young, developing quarterback.
Yeah.
Tavares Jackson has not played well tonight. But remember this. This is his 12th start in the National Football League. He's still growing. He's going to make mistakes.
But he's leading what looks to be a playoff team, and nobody's going to give him a pass just because it's his 12th start.
Absolutely not. You got to play.
The 41, the rookie Peterson. Matt Toina, who was not on the Bears roster earlier this week, comes in and makes another play. All the guys that they've lost factoring in there. So even though Peterson dropped a couple of yards there, just perspective on his season, missing 2.5 games with the knee injury, he currently sits 3rd in the National Football League in rushing yards with Willie Parker of the Steelers and LaDainian Tomlinson in his sights. But look at the carries. He has 62 carries less than LT and 102 less than Parker, yet is right in there with those 3 guys, perhaps chasing the NFL rushing title. And we'll see LT next Monday night on Christmas Eve with the Broncos and the Chargers from San Diego. Jackson, Jeff Dugan, tight end by trade, converted to a fullback. No gain, timeout Bears. They have 1 remaining with 3:44, and 3rd and 11 coming up. So a huge play for the Bears defense as Briggs is banged up. We'll be right back. Been a long time since Orton's been in a spot like this. He hasn't played in 100 weeks. Pressured, got rid of it to Hester, who catches it at the 45. It'll be a first down as we hit the 2-minute warning. Spencer Johnson was around Orton, but Kyle with the completion. 55 yards away are the Bears. Can they tie the game, keep their season alive? Hester just goes down and gets it before it hit the ground. Thank you, Scotty and Kenny. Here we're at Minneapolis, 7-point game. Bears 1 timeout, ball at the 45-yard line. Chicago trying to save its season, stave off elimination from the playoff race. Kyle Orton hit as he threw, incomplete. The rush comes from Kevin Williams again. And has scored another touchdown last week, his 4 in his Vikings career. And he very well could be in the Pro Bowl mix when that team's announced tomorrow.
Yeah, once again, pressure up the middle. I'll tell you, when you flash in front of the quarterback like that, he's going to be forced to get rid of the football. Good pressure up the middle by the Vikings.
Rough night for quarterbacks.
Yes, it is.
Rough night.
Yes,
again,
it is. Thank you, Tony.
Donovan McNabb sitting, watching, wondering, what have I bid for me?
Bears have plenty of time here in the whole field, so they are not in panic mode with 156. Orton is letting it go deep downfield for Bernard Berrien. It's intercepted by Darren Sharper. His 53rd career pick, his 4th of the year. Sharper down at the 39, and with 1 timeout and 98 seconds left, the Vikings are in great shape to move to 8-6 and send the Bears and the Eagles and the Lions and the Cardinals home for the playoffs.
That was a whisker away from falling into the hands of Bernard Berrien to tie this baby up. You'll see Orton here, pressure from his right side, flush from the pocket. He sees Barron. He threw it back to his inside shoulder. If he would have thrown it more toward the middle of the field, that may have been a touchdown. Great reaction by Darren Sharper.
It had 11 seconds worth of hang time, that one.
Well, it was a long pass.
Yeah.
Minute 38, so the game should be over here. They don't need to run any plays, don't need to gain a first down. Lovie Smith has a timeout left, has not used it yet.
So they don't need to stop at the 1 like Brian Westbrook.
Well, Sharper should have done that, in all honesty, Tony, because if he fumbles, the Bears get the ball back.
How about Westbrook? That had to be the most intelligent play of the year.
He said John Runyon told him to do it and was chasing him.
You know, John is intelligent as well, by the way. Contrary to what most people think about offensive linemen.
I think they're the smartest guy.
Well, gentlemen, there'll be a new champion in the National Football Conference this year. The Chicago Bears will be eliminated, as will the Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, and Arizona Cardinals. Minnesota still remains in control of its own destiny. Sunday night, they play the Redskins here. New Orleans also a game back. The Saints play the Eagles on Sunday, and Carolina playing Saturday night at home against Dallas, still alive at 6-8. They're the only of the 6-8 teams that will be alive here tonight. Kenny and Scott have SportsCenter. Those are the stories. Steve Young, Emmett Smith, Sal Palantonio here in Minneapolis, and the exclusive with Michael Jordan. Doesn't look like Lovie Smith's going to use that last timeout. To a knee, to 8-6, the Minnesota Vikings. Not pretty, but 5 wins in a row. And for the 7th time in 8 years, the team that loses the Super Bowl misses the playoffs the next year.
And falls below 500 in the process.
5 wins in a row. That is very difficult to do. Yes, it was ugly.
Right.
Give Brad Childress some props. Give his football team some props. They're on a little bit of a roll right now. They got to correct that little thing called quarterback play, and they'll be all right.
Series sweep for the Vikings after the Bears swept Minnesota in 2006. SportsCenter's next. For Tony Kornheiser, Ron Jaworski, Susie Colbert, birthday girl Michelle Tafoya, and our great ESPN Monday Night Football crew. Thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. See you on Christmas Eve from California.
See you in San Diego.